Hello from the internet. I'm Ryan with my brother Deric here. This podcast takes tokens, and today we're going to be talking about one of my all-time favorite shows. So if you put my movies, I guess rather, if you put my favorite movies in numerical order, somewhere within the top 5, because I'm not going to give you the 1 through 5 full number right now, is going to be the 1989 classic, or should I say cult classic. It wasn't huge when it came out.
I'd say it's a cult classic.
Cult classic. The Burbs is what we're talking about today, starring Tom Hanks, Carrie Fisher, Bruce Dern, our favorite Corey Feldman, and what was that guy's name that played Art? Rick Ducommun? I don't
know.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
I know I've seen him in a ton of stuff, but I can never remember his name.
No.
But
and
anyway.
it should be noted that while we are reviewing, or we're talking about the Burbs, we are on location in the burb that we grew up in our dad's house.
Yes.
Because I happen to be in town, so we're recording together this week.
Our very first episode together. I've been super excited about this week. So if you get to hear the serenade of the local dogs,
That's true.
I hope you enjoy that. Also, I'm really hoping, I was telling Deric this earlier, that you get to hear the classic train noise that we grew up with hearing every night.
Every night. There's a lullaby.
Yes.
It's the local lullaby.
So, here we are at Dad's. It's good to be here talking with you.
In the Burbs.
So what'd you think? What was your overall... This is your first time watching the Burbs.
This is my first time watching the Burbs, and I don't remember it, so... And I feel like this is a movie I would have remembered. So I'm confident in saying this is my first time seeing this movie. It's an 80s movie. It is firmly an 80s movie in that it is a little weird. It's a little odd. And it's just got kind of this, it feels like something that came from the 80s. Even though you said it was, what, 91?
No, 89.
89? Okay.
Yeah, it came from the 80s.
It came from the 80s. That should have been the name of the podcast. It came from the
80s.
Oh, man.
Keep having these ideas later on. And
well. Anyways. It was fun. I don't know that I would put it in my top 5.
Oh, no!
I don't know that I would put it in my top 5. It was a little... I feel like this is one of those movies, like so many movies, especially like movies that I love, that when I watched them as a kid, I loved them so much that as an adult I can forgive them a lot more. And having seen this one as an adult, it was a little bit of an oddball one. I feel like I would have loved it as a kid though, so I can totally understand how you love it. Because if I would have seen this when it came out, I would totally 100% be on board. But I feel like my one critique on it was it didn't feel like they knew what kind of movie they wanted to be.
Oh.
Like at some points it's kind of like a little zany with like the rapid zoom in and out.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And then at some points it's a little more straight-laced.
Yeah.
Like what you'd expect from a Tom Hanks film. I feel like this movie was cast originally with somebody that wasn't Tom Hanks, somebody a little more zany, and then Tom Hanks came into the role and kind of grounded everything else, and so a lot of that zaniness kind of came down, and so I feel like that changed, I don't know, the tone of the movie or the shape of the movie, and so I feel like you've got two different movies kind of struggling to be here.
Yeah, I could see that, I guess, looking at it now. But, of course, am watching it with the glasses of nostalgia.
Yes.
And like you're saying. But, so I think one thing that, like, really makes me love this movie.
Please.
Is, so I remember watching it at my friends' brothers, Leif and Ian, the two brothers.
Yeah.
They lived across the street from where I live at now. Used to be my grandma's house. That's how I met him. Grandma lived there, and anyway, so grew up two oldest friends. We would go to their house in the summer a lot, and we'd watch different movies. And they had this one on VHS, and we would watch it. And we watched it so much, their dad had one of those old like RCA video cameras that you would actually put the VHS in, you know, like those blank VHS tapes. We have a video somewhere. I think Ian got it digitized, and we remade this movie.
Oh, shot for shot.
Yes, almost shot for shot. But I remember us being like running around, being like the bees, you know, and talking. We'd go through the lines, and I don't know. I'm sure it was cinema gold. But we remade that movie because we loved it so much, and so I think about that when I watch this, and I don't know, like I love everything about. I even love the zaniness in it.
Yeah.
I love, you know, there's that scene where Tom Hanks, so Ray and Art and Carrie Fisher, they're all, and their son, they're sitting in the kitchen early on, and they're talking, and he's Tom Hanks is saying like something about the you got that neighbor with the enormous head, and he runs his hands around, and you can hear in the background like there's a cartoon on the TV, and it goes whoa whoa whoa, and it matches up with his hands, and it's just I think that was intentional. But
yeah, it had to have been.
Yeah. But I don't know. This movie is just it just hits me
right
so hard every time I watch it, and I always catch something new. So. You know, like this time I was watching it. So Walter, their neighbor, you know, the one that goes missing, and they're, you know, wondering if the Klopeks have killed him, you know, and all this stuff. He was in every I Love Lucy television show.
Really?
Yeah. So he was. I don't know. I'm assuming he was.
Oh, like just on the show at some point.
Yeah.
Not in every episode.
Sorry. Every Lucille Ball TV show.
Okay.
She had a ton of them. So she had I Love Lucy, Here's Lucy, The Lucy Show, Life with Lucy. So I say she had 4.
Yeah. It's a lot.
Yeah. And he was in every single one of those. So there's a little Easter egg that I didn't notice until I was watching it just this last weekend for the show. When they're in his house, and like they're, you know, looking to see what happened, and there's a chair that's knocked over, and Rumsfeld's like, signs of a struggle here, you know. It was just chair knocked over, but up on his TV there's a picture of him with Lucille Ball.
Yes.
So did you see that?
Well, I thought they mentioned it. Did they say something about it?
Did they?
I thought they said something about it. Like somebody just mumbled something like, "Is this him with Lucille Ball?"
Really?
Yeah, I thought
Well,
because as you were talking about it in my head, I was thinking, oh yeah, there was like a mention of Lucille in the house at some point, right?
Okay.
So I don't know, maybe it came later. I might be jumbling it up. I've only seen the movie once.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. I don't know.
My memory's not as good on it.
I don't remember it, but again, like I'm saying, like every time I rewatch it, I'm catching something else that I hadn't, you know, caught before. So I don't know. So what? So you watched it. What was your favorite scene?
Favorite scene. I can't think of one right off the top of my head. I feel like.
Well, let me ask you this: who's your favorite character?
Ooh, well, it's got to be Tom Hanks.
Yeah.
It's always Tom Hanks. If it's a Tom Hanks movie, he's the best character in the movie.
I don't know. Like me growing up, it was Corey Feldman.
Oh yeah,
because I was closer to his age, you know, and I'm like, oh, he's the cool, like, just the cool high school guy, you know, that's living on the street, and he had the '80s babe, and you know, all this.
I feel like he was kind of like this. Would this be the exact same movie if he wasn't in it? Like if they just completely lifted his character out of the movie.
Oh, it would still be fine.
It beat for beat, it would not
still
change.
Be fun. But he adds that that almost like surfer.
Well, yeah,
you know,
like he brings in a character element for sure.
Yeah.
But I just mean like I feel like this is another one of those cases where it just feels like Corey Feldman was added to a lot of stuff in the '80s just to have Corey Feldman in it.
And I think you're right. I think in this movie they did that because yeah, they had the star power of Tom Hanks, but
Yeah.
at the time, Tom Hanks wasn't Tom Hanks.
No, he was bosom buddies.
Yeah, like he had done Big, I guess, which that was a big one. But
That was
then
that was kind of his big one.
Splash, maybe Sleepless in Seattle at that point. I don't know if maybe that was 90. Maybe that was,
91 or 92.
okay,
I
okay,
think.
so he hadn't done that. Joe versus the Volcano. I mean, he had movies under his belt, but he wasn't. It wasn't until like he did Philadelphia. I think he won an Oscar for Philadelphia, and then the next year for Forrest Gump. Like that, because I feel like the '90s were like
that was his year.
That was Tom Hanks. Like
time.
every other movie he was on the marquee.
Yep.
And that's what was selling the movies. This had, you had Tom Hanks, but you had Carrie Fisher. But other than like. Star Wars, like what had at that point, like what else was she really?
And they're about the same age, aren't they?
Yeah.
She looks so much older here. But I was thinking about it, and this is 89.
Mm-hmm.
This is 12 years after Star Wars, where she was 18 in Star Wars. So she's probably 30 in this movie.
She had some drug problems.
Well, yeah, there was that.
Yeah.
But just like in general, like. You look at people of that generation, and they typically look a lot older.
They do, yeah.
Than they actually are, or maybe our generation just looks younger than we actually are.
They've done studies about that. Like they've shown hairstyles on people. Like they'll show somebody, like a celebrity, and they'll show them with like a hairstyle from the '80s.
Oh yeah.
And then they'll show them today, and they look drastically different.
Yeah.
So I think some of that is like hairstyles, or clothing that they wore,
Probably,
and,
like the
and
clothing
things
dates
like
you
that.
too.
Mustaches, I think that makes anybody look older, because like you're saying, I mean, like you look at football players in the '80s and '90s, you're like, oh, these guys are like 50 years old out there playing,
They're like 25.
Yeah,
30.
exactly.
Yeah.
So, but I think that's why they brought Corey Feldman in. I imagine because he was,
he was a big star at the
time.
Huge
star in the '80s.
That was his peak, probably right about then.
Yep.
Late '80s. Yeah.
It was. So I think he brought in, that marquee sort of,
the name.
Yeah, the name. We can maybe have some people come watch this for Corey Feldman. But yeah, he was my favorite when I was a kid, just because I'm like, I don't know, I want to hang out with him, and like he wasn't really getting involved in everything, but he was like in the neighborhood, and just watching, and I love just the interactions he would have. Like,
I'll be curious. This makes me think of a movie that I want to put on the list, and I'm curious if you've seen it, and then if you haven't, how you're gonna feel about it. Have you ever seen the classic, not the original, the remake with Corey Feldman, Rock and Roll High School?
No.
Rock and Roll High School Forever with Corey Feldman. That was a lot of fun.
Okay.
And it's a zany, weird movie from, I think it came out after this. I think this was a slightly older Corey Feldman. But it was originally a movie back in the 70s, I want to say, with the Ramones.
Okay.
And then they remade it with like Corey Feldman and some other people. But I'm gonna put that one on my list.
Yeah,
we'll come to that one.
Yeah,
I'm curious how you'll feel about that one.
I've not seen that.
But I'm thinking back now, and I think my favorite scene, to answer your question, to go back, is I thought it was funny, and it was a great introduction to all the characters. Is whenever, from the moment the guy that went missing comes out and lets his dog out, and then his dog runs over to that neighbor's yard and takes a dump, and he's just kind of like, yeah, good doggy.
Yeah.
And
his lawn needed fertilizing anyway.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah. And you have each character from the neighborhood kind of comes out, and you get a sense of their personality and their character, and you got, was it Bruce Dern's character?
Yeah, Rumsfeld, Mark Rumsfeld, yeah.
He comes out, and he's a very militant guy. He steps in the dog. And all the other characters throughout the movie. You get their intros right there, and I think that was probably my favorite scene, because it sets it all up, and you kind of get to meet everybody. So I think that was mine.
I do like that scene, because I like, Corey Feldman's out there, and he's like
sloshing paint
oh yeah,
everywhere.
he's painting the porch. That's
Yeah.
his. I'm assuming this is like Memorial Day weekend or something.
Yeah, because like they mentioned something about his parents being out of town.
Yeah.
So he's been tasked with painting the house. I was trying to figure that out. I was
or like the porch or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was trying to figure that out early in the movie. Like, is he in his early 20s and he just happens to own this house, or
Yeah.
what's going on? Like, because he doesn't
Yeah.
have it. Because he seems to be like, he's running it like it is his house.
Yeah.
You know, slosh and paint everywhere and just dragging
all over
stuff
speakers
all over
and
the place.
everything. Yeah.
All over the speakers.
Yeah.
And having people over constantly,
Yeah.
but then like there's mention of it later that his parents are out of town.
So I'm wondering, like, he's either in high school, which we both know these movies, like, they'll have 40-year-old guys playing high schoolers, or he's home from college, or something like that, or maybe he just works. I don't know. But he's a young guy. Regardless, he's a young guy, and I love all of his friends. The what's
pizza
that?
dude's coming.
Yeah, pizza. We're gonna go to get something from Mickey D's. No, I called the pizza dude.
Yeah.
It's so great.
And then when you heard him say pizza dude, did that flash you back to Ninja Turtles as well?
Yes, it did. Yep. Yeah. So you've got him painting. You've got Bruce Dern, and like you're saying with the flag. And I love when Tom Hanks steps out and he's in his robe and he's got his coffee, and the paper boy throws the paper right at him, and he just throws his coffee at him.
Yeah.
Just
he like smacked him with the paper.
yeah, he did. Yeah.
That was great. Yeah.
Yeah. So I agree with you. That's a good scene. My favorite is probably when they decide, Carrie Fisher decides they're just going to go over and meet these neighbors.
Oh yeah, just barges right in. Yeah.
Well, and when they're walking up, and it does it earlier in the movie, but when they walk up there, and Rumsfeld's holding the brwnnies, and his foot just falls through through the porch.
That's probably like the fourth hole they put on that porch too.
Yes.
I don't know how they missed any of them.
And they go in, and he's looking at everything, and he's asking Hans, is this a girlfriend? And he's like, no, the picture came with the frame. And he peels the wallpaper off of the wall.
Know. I was like, what a horrible house guest. You're just gonna like rip the paper off the wall?
Yeah. And so he's, as like watching it again as an adult, he's my favorite, because he has all those like great one-liners.
Okay.
And like what's your name? Hans. He's like, oh, it's a fine Christian name. Hans Christian Andersen, and I don't know, like talking about the dog, and if your dog takes a crap in my yard one more time, I'm gonna staple his shut, and just he's got all those lines that are just, you watch it and it's just so funny, and I don't know, I love that character so much. And,
that was a fun one.
Yeah. So, but that whole scene when they're in there and they're trying to meet the neighbors, and he's like, so what did he ask? He asks Reuben, the uncle, something. Now I can't remember what it was, and he just goes, no, like really sharp, and he pats him on the back. He says, whoa, that's about a 9 on the tension scale there, Reuben. And they're giving him sardines and all that stuff.
The sardines and pretzels. That was so weird.
Yes.
So I know they ended up, like at the end of the movie, it turns out that they are murderers.
Yes.
And there's like skeletons in the trunk.
Yep.
But what were they doing in the basement that was causing all the ruckus?
They were, I think he'd made like a crematorium.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah, because it was, they're down there, and Ray's like, I've
this
never
furnace
seen a
is
furnace
huge.
that goes up to like 5,000 degrees.
Yeah.
I've never seen that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's what they were doing, because he asks him later, when they're in the ambulance, you saw one of my skulls down there, didn't you?
Yeah.
Because they had killed the Naps, and so he's confessing everything.
Oh, so then like they had that woo 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 that was just like they were hyping it up or whatever in the movie. Okay.
Yeah.
I was like, what else were they doing down there?
But that's the thing, like you're saying, like with just the zaniness and stuff of the movie, there's like the first scene where Ray walks out because there's all the noise, and as soon as he steps across the lawn, the wind blows in his face, and I don't know. Those are the little things I love about it because it doesn't take itself too seriously.
No, yeah,
Yeah.
it was kind of online with like Addams Family in
Yeah.
that vein. Like, it
Yeah.
just kind of reminded me of that.
Yeah.
Like that not necessarily zany as much as quirky or weird.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. There's a lot of little spots like that, I think, in there. Like when Art and Rumsfeld go and they knock on the door and the 669 falls and it's 666.
Yes, it's 666. Yeah.
And the bees and everything start
The
coming
bees.
out. Yeah. Yeah.
Would water work in trying to get bees off of you?
I don't know. That was so funny. I get because it was Ray. It wasn't Rumsfeld. It was
Yeah.
Ray and Art that went over there because Rumsfeld's got the hose and he's like, "Run to me, man!"
Yes.
You know, and he's spraying them down. Yeah, I don't know. I've never.
I've never tried to take out bees with water
Yeah,
before, so I don't know how
I figure,
effective that would be.
he spent 18 months in the bush, so he
he's
ought
gotta
to
know,
He ought to
right?
know. Yeah. But that dream scene, you remember that? What'd you think about that?
The dream scene. Oh, where like yeah, and then they're gonna like they got him like tied down and they're gonna kill him or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was where it got zany, and
Yeah.
that was the peak of the zaniness.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a little weird. I'm trying to remember it exactly. What were they doing?
So he had just he was trying to go to sleep and he kept flipping through the channels.
Yeah.
And he was like coming across scenes from The Exorcist or I think Texas Chainsaw Massacre was another one. So like when he's coming downstairs, like the chainsaw comes through the side of the house,
that's
through
right,
the
yeah.
wall, and then Carrie Fisher's up there, and she's like, "It was so nice of you to invite the new neighbors over for a barbecue," and then they're stringing them up on the barbecue.
Yeah.
And Art is dressed up as that guy named Skip because he's talking earlier in the movie. He's talking about that guy Skip that had the ice cream parlor that went crazy and like killed his whole family with an
But
ice
they
pick.
didn't show Skip at any point, right?
They don't, but he's dressed up as
He's
Skip.
dressed up as like what
Yeah.
we're told is Skip.
But I thought it was interesting that they have that scene in the movie and they do back that up as like within the lore of the movie that was fact that something like that happened because Ray's like, I do remember that. But I like at the end where he's like, where they don't know yet that the Naps have actually killed everybody, but they've blown the house up and everything.
Yeah.
And he's just going off on Art, and he's like, "We're the ones that are weird, not them.
Yeah.
It's us."
Yeah.
Because just Art is just so. I like Art, but he wears me out.
Oh,
He's
okay.
just so. Just insistent.
No,
on
man. There's
everything.
something wrong here. Come
Yeah,
on.
yeah. Well, he's right the whole time.
Yeah.
He's right. You know.
Which is probably not good for him in the long run,
Yeah.
being vindicated. Because in the future, he's not going to let anything go.
No.
He knew who the murderers were.
Yeah. He's a good character. He's just he just wore me out watching him. He does every time I watch the movie. But
So did you watch it again just by yourself?
no, I watched it with Mindy, but she watched it for about half. She's seen
Checked
it
out.
with me before, and then she fell asleep. But I asked her that night. I was like, "Hey, I'm gonna watch the Burbs for the show. Do you want to watch it with me?" She's like, "Yeah, I'll watch it with you." But we ended up. Did you watch it on Netflix? That's how we ended up watching it. Yeah. I've got the disc at home, but I was like, I don't have anything hooked up in our bedroom, and I can just lay in
Netflix.
bed and put it on Netflix. So, yeah. But I remember what was it? It was episode 2. I think we were prepping this, saying that we were going to be doing this. And I couldn't remember. I was like, the movie came out and it didn't do very well in the box office. And I was like, I'm gonna check into that. So like I was looking into it, like why didn't this do too well? Because it came out February 17th, which is a great day, my birthday, 1989. So a couple weeks before that, when Harry Met Sally came out. So that was a huge movie.
Yeah.
And so that's in the theater at the same time. And then a couple weeks after that, Dream a Little Dream came out. So Feldman had 2 movies out at the same time. Yeah.
And that was a big one for him, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I've never seen it, but
I haven't either. But it had both the Coreys in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then, do you want to guess what released the same day as the Burbs?
89. Was it Batman?
Not
No.
Batman.
I don't know. What was it?
Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, released on February 17th, 1989.
Yeah, that would do it.
Yep. because that movie was like,
Yeah, that's
I
on the
remember
list.
it being big, you
Yeah.
know, and of course, you know, wasn't that old at the time, but I do remember that being a big movie,
Yeah.
and not hearing too much about the Burbs. So I'm guessing that's why
Yeah.
it didn't do with all those other movies, and then like you know like we were saying earlier, they'd have the huge star power of Tom Hanks. Had this movie came out like 5 years later, I
Yeah.
think it would have been a lot bigger.
But would this movie come out 5 years
no,
later?
it would not come. It would not come out 5 years later. Could they make this movie in any other decade other than the 80s? I don't think so.
Probably not.
You know, I don't think so.
No.
It's just it was so the movie. If you watch the intro where it's zooming in,
Yeah, which I was gonna mention, that was kind of ahead of its time. This whole
Yeah.
like Google Earth view and then
Yep.
zooming in really tight onto the house slowly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an incredible shot for '89.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So where do you think that they were located at?
Well, it looked like just north of us here, like what, Indiana or
Iowa.
Iowa, yeah, or Minnesota maybe,
Minnesota?
lower Minnesota.
So I was thinking like around Des Moines,
Yeah,
the way it kind of looked. Maybe. I don't know. You know, who knows? They don't ever say it. But the hills look like the Hollywood Hills in California.
Oh, yeah,
So
yeah.
I'm like,
every movie shot back then looks
yeah.
like
So
Hollywood.
I don't, it's too hilly. Like
Yeah.
Iowa's flat.
Yeah,
Yeah, like there should be nothing for you know,
did they say where it was supposed
thousands
to
of no, they never do.
Oh,
But
okay.
it looks to me like Iowa as it
Yeah.
zooms in. So I always thought, I guess growing up, I always thought, oh, they're around Des Moines.
I think they
you
were
know?
just trying to go like general Midwest.
Yeah. It's just it's. You're right. I think the vibe they're trying to get is like this is an every burb. Like
Yeah.
it could be anywhere. This is your normal suburban neighborhood.
Yeah.
You know, with the cul-de-sac and all that. But
There was a couple movies like this that came out around this time too,
Yeah.
like focused on the idea of the neighborhood, and I can't think of any right off the top of my head, but I want to say I'd seen a couple that were in the similar vein
mhm.
around the same time. Like there was one with what's her name? She was on Cheers with
Kirstie
Kirstie Alley, yeah. There was one with her and I can't remember who the guy was. And they had family or house guests that kept coming over. Like people just kept coming and staying in their house, and finally their house was just overrun with all these people and they couldn't turn them away or something like that. And then it was all about them getting their house back.
Mhm.
And then there was, even Tom Hanks had like Money Pit back
Yeah,
then, which is
yeah.
kind of, I mean, it's not necessarily around like the suburbs or anything like that because they were moving out to the country, but it's dealing with like a house and all that kind of wackiness that goes around a house, which I don't know why whenever I thought of this movie, for some reason I thought it was about a couple. See, I didn't know anything about the movie.
Sure.
So I, for some reason, when it first got brought up, thought the movie was about a couple that buys a house in the suburbs and is trying to fix it up.
Oh,
So I was thinking of Money Pit for some
going
reason.
into that, watching this movie, I can see why this wasn't what I was expecting.
This is not what I was expecting. But I read the synopsis before, and so I was like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, so it's actually
Oh.
about this thing. It's about the neighborhood or whatever.
Yeah.
And which I think the synopsis was just like a zany cast of characters in a mysterious house in an average neighborhood or something
Yeah.
like that. And I was like, okay.
So like I remember just watching this and even watching it now, like it I wish that I could live in a neighborhood like that. Not necessarily I don't want people killing people in the
Yeah.
neighborhood, but that's one thing that I think is very endearing about the show is like it's that classic like everybody knows everybody in the neighborhood. Like everybody knows
Yeah.
Walter's this cranky old jerk that lives down the street.
Yeah.
He's got a dog that he lets poop in everybody else's yard. Like every neighborhood has somebody like that,
Just want a little harmless wackiness.
Yeah. And I want the guy the ex-military guy that is an arms dealer, that lives across the street that has infrared night vision scopes, like, and I don't know. It's just, it made me want to live in a neighborhood like that. Because, I mean, even around here when we were living here, I mean, I remember there was the older couple that lived next door, and they had a granddaughter that would come and stay
like every summer for a couple weeks.
Yeah, and I mean, we had that here, but it wasn't like we didn't have the zaniness,
No,
know. But it does make me long for, like, in my neighborhood now, I don't know hardly anybody in my neighborhood at all.
No.
Like, and I wish there was somebody that I could just like, Art's outside.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna go walk out there and see what he's up to, or
like that old like King of the Hill thing. Everybody just kind of meets out by the fence, cracks a cold one at the end of the day, and just hangs out and shoots it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe that's what I still like about the show, or about the movie, is just
simpler time.
Yeah, it is simpler times.
Yeah.
And
all you had to worry about was a neighbor that had a crematorium in there.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Femurs in the backyard, and
Which they went through all the trouble of trying to convince us that they weren't murderers. How did they dismiss the femur that was in the backyard? Whenever it came out that they weren't.
Oh yeah, because they see that and they go over there.
Yeah.
And
then the house blows up and they're just like, well, that femur must be fake or something.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe they'd forgotten about it. I don't know. But where did they throw it at?
I don't know. The dog brought it to them. I don't know what they did with it.
Yeah, I mean, it
wasn't
doesn't ever really say it.
Yeah.
That's the zoom in and out really fast on the camera when they're screaming because they think it's Walter.
Yes.
Yeah, but I appreciate. I really appreciate how Corey Feldman is the one that reveals the.
Yeah, he's just like, hey, what's this, dude?
Yeah, yeah, that's like totally that kind of a character that's just like just nosing around everything. Oh, the trunk's open.
Yeah.
What's this? Because me personally, I wouldn't be that guy. It's like, oh, someone's trunk accidentally opened up. I'm just gonna go look in it.
It would be a different movie without Corey Feldman.
It would
have him there to reveal.
You don't have the reveal. Ray goes to prison.
Yeah.
And the Klopeks get away with it. Yeah. So really, Corey Feldman is the hero of the movie.
He is the hero of the movie.
He is the hero of the movie, yes. I'm glad that we thought about that. Yeah.
Corey Feldman, the hero. Is he the hero in every movie he's in?
I don't know. I hope he is.
What was the last one he was? Oh, he was in Ninja Turtles. He was a hero in Ninja Turtles?
Yep.
Yeah, he was our hero. He was Donnie.
So, Corey, if you ever hear this, we love you, and we are so happy that you're the hero in all of our favorite childhood movies.
Goonies? He was a hero in Goonies?
Yep. Gremlins...
kind of a hero?
Yeah, he's Billy's friend.
Yeah,
so
as much a hero as you can be.
Which, did you notice the connection from Gremlins?
No, what's the connection?
So it's not like a hard connection, but the two garbage guys are both one's in Gremlins 1, the other one's in Gremlins 2.
Yeah. I recognized them from it. Which then both the neighbors get in the back of the garbage truck wearing just robes, and rolling around in this filth and gunk. I mean, good Lord,
who's gonna clean this up? I'll tell you who's gonna clean it up. You're gonna clean it up because you're the garbage man.
My taxpayer dollars pay for this.
And they just leave it. In the rest of the movie, people are driving across. Nobody picks it up. People are driving across the trash.
So were they, the Klopeks, were they trying to dispose of the bodies?
So it never
through the trash?
Obviously says, but I am convinced after watching this a million times that when Hans first drives that trash bag out there, he is beating an actual body into there, and then
they get a little cautious.
Yeah, because they notice that I'm sure they're not really hiding that well behind the trash cans across the street. So I'm sure they saw it, because I think it's later that night that, is it Ray that sees them out back digging in the rain?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that they had got the bodies out of the trash bags, and then they just took them to the back, and they were
going to try and bury him.
Yeah, going to try to bury him.
But they ended up in the trunk.
They ended up in the trunk, yeah. So I don't know if maybe they...
What were they digging for then? Or maybe they were digging out the ones that they had buried.
Yes, there you go.
And they put them all in the car, and they were going to go dispose of them.
Yeah.
But then they came back for some reason.
Yeah. Why did they leave
Why
him
did
in
they
the
come back with them still? They didn't. Maybe they couldn't find a good place.
Yeah.
They just had these bodies that they kept shuffling around trying to get rid of. They could just never find a good
Couldn't
place
figure
for
out.
them.
But they had the crematorium.
They had went through all
5,000
that
degrees.
effort.
That's going to burn. I mean, that's.
How did they get that into the basement? That's my
I
question.
don't know.
That thing is huge.
You're picking apart one of my favorite movies. But it's like what we go back to, like what we were talking about with our TMNT episode. It doesn't matter.
Suspend
It
disbelief.
doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's fine.
It's a movie.
It's fun. It's a fun movie. You know. I don't know.
Yeah.
And I like when when Ray finds Walter's toupee.
Oh yeah.
And the guys are telling him, because he's, just giving in to everything Carol's saying. And they're like, why don't you just pull your out right now or something like that. And he reaches in there like, well, that's just a figure of speech, Ray. And he's got that toupee in there. And Rumsfeld's like, you've been carrying that around in your trousers all night.
I missed that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's when he realizes that they had. Of course, he thinks they killed Walter at that point. But
Yeah.
when they are doing something that's
Not right.
something's not right. Yeah. Yeah. But I don't understand. So why? So the Klopeks could have completely gotten away with this.
Could have.
All they had to do when they were over there, when Ray and Carol and Rumsfeld and Bonnie were over there. All they had to do when Rumsfeld says, Walter, we don't know where the hell he is, and then all they had to do was say, oh, he's in the hospital. We're taking care of his mail.
Oh yeah.
That's all they had to say.
But they're too weird.
Yeah, they are too weird. They're a weird,
Yeah.
super weird family.
Super weird family.
Yeah.
So when was the last time, other than, obviously this week?
Yeah.
When was the last time you'd seen the movie?
About a year ago.
Okay, so you watched some pretty regularly.
I make it a point to watch it at least once a year.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's that movie for you.
It is. It is. Like I said, I love that movie because it was just Leif and Ian and I watched that so much. And, heck, we tried to remake the movie as best we could as, 10-year-old kids, And so it really holds a special place in my heart. I love that movie so much, and I never get tired of it.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, your movie.
Yes, that's one of my movies.
It's your top five. Yeah. This is one of your top five.
One of my top five. Don't ask me the order.
No.
Now, like I said, Back to the Future is in there.
Oh yeah.
But all three of those is one.
That's one movie.
That's one movie.
Yeah.
That's one movie.
That's one movie with three really long acts.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, The Burbs is in there. It's in my top five.
All right.
I don't know which number it is. It's probably not number. It's not number one. I'll say that. It's not number one.
No, I don't know that. No. I don't know that it's anybody's number
one. No. Somebody out there.
It's got to be somebody's number one, I guess. Yeah.
I don't know. But I enjoyed it. I love it. I'm glad that we got to revisit it.
Yeah.
What did your wife think about it?
So I asked her before the week before. I said, next week I'm going to watch this movie. Do you want to join me? It's a Tom Hanks movie. We've never seen it before. She's like, yeah, I've never seen it. I'll watch it with you. And I said, okay. And then I came home and put it on and started to watch it, and she got up and started doing other things.
Don't tell me no!
And then probably about 20 minutes in, she's like, I'm going to go take a shower real quick. And so she was out.
That's I guess my wife had about the same way. She rolled over and fell asleep.
Yeah.
So
this would not have been her type of movie.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of glad she didn't watch it with me, because she would be judging me pretty hard.
Yeah.
She'd be judging you pretty hard too.
Yeah. That's fine. Allison, that's fine. You can judge me all you want. Yeah, so that's The Burbs. That's The Burbs.
Yeah, you got any closing thoughts on The Burbs?
Oh my gosh. Don't listen to the noise of how it's, people don't like it, or they want to go take a shower, they'd rather fall asleep. Watch the movie if you haven't seen it.
Enjoy it, yeah.
If you have seen it, watch it again. And
it was fun.
Yeah. I mean, I think
it was a fun 80s movie for sure.
I mean, there's a little bit of language in it, but
Oh yeah.
I think I could still like. There's nothing that I couldn't show my kids in it. I feel like.
Oh
Like,
yeah, usually in '80s movies, for some reason, there's an obligatory nude person.
Yeah.
There was no
just out of nowhere.
no nudity. Yeah.
Yeah.
No overly graphic language or descriptions of things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not a lot of adult content.
Yeah. No.
Other than the murder.
Yeah. Which you don't see a murder on screen.
That's
you
true.
know.
It's just weird, ominous things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So go watch it if you haven't seen it.
Apparently, watch it with your kids.
Watch it with your kid. Watch it with your kids. I've watched it with Landon. I haven't watched it with Harper yet. I don't think a 7-year-old needs to be seeing.
Nah. This is post Gremlins.
Yeah.
So this is after they came out with the PG-13 ratings.
Oh yeah.
Was this PG-13 or just PG?
This was.
It wasn't an R.
Quick. It was no.
It definitely wasn't an
it
R.
was not an
It did
R.
not merit an R.
Yeah.
But it was a PG. If it was PG-13, I would say it's probably PG-13 just for the language. I can't imagine it was PG-13 for the content of murder.
It's PG.
PG, yeah.
PG. So
You can get away with I think you can get away with one F-bomb and one S-bomb.
Yeah.
In a PG movie.
Okay.
I think.
So now that we're talking about that, and this came out post Gremlins, I let Harper watch Gremlins.
Yeah. Which
Now she slept with us that night. so I don't know.
Ghostbusters.
Yeah. Oh, Ghostbusters is that's a hard PG.
It's a hard PG.
Yeah. So this movie, Burbs, I'm looking on here because see what the rating is.
Yeah.
So IMDb gave it 6.8.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
That's pretty good.
Rotten Tomatoes 56%. Those people.
That's pretty good. 56?
56.
That's pretty good.
They don't know what they're talking about. This should be 156.
The scale only goes to 100.
Audience rating out of 99 ratings on Google, 4.5.
4.5.
God bless every one of you.
Oh, 4.5 out of 5.
Out of 5 stars.
Yeah, okay,
yes,
yeah,
out of 5 stars.
All right,
Yeah.
all right, yeah.
I don't know.
I feel like it's one of those movies though that you're either gonna rate it highly,
Yeah.
or you're just not gonna rate it. Like, I feel like people go and they leave bad reviews for restaurants and they leave good reviews for movies, and they seldom do the reverse.
Yeah. It's definitely a cult classic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Clearly did do well at the box office. I don't see a sequel.
What was you were looking that up? What was the box office take on it again?
Let me look here. Box office take. Domestic box office take. Whoa. Ooh, boy.
It's also got like what the estimated cost to produce was too, right?
Yeah, let me look here. How much did it cost to make? $18 million.
It's a cheap movie.
They made money. $35 million.
Oh, that's not bad.
Is what it made. Yeah.
I think 50 is a successful comedy movie.
Yeah.
In the 80s.
Okay. So it I'm sure it didn't meet expectations, but
It made money back.
yeah,
At box
it did make.
office.
Yeah.
Then you got VHS and home and rental and all that on top of it.
Which I think that's clearly all these cult classics. That's where they become cult classics because after with the home video rentals and stuff like that.
Home box office. You got HBO and cable and all that.
Yeah.
So now that you don't have cable like that anymore. It's all streaming. So how do these movies become how do you discover movies like this? I mean, they put new high quality great movies right alongside crappy schlock B movies now that all come out at the same time. Like you go in to look at what's the new release, and it's just this mix of everything. And you got Tom Hanks's new movie right there alongside, I don't know, Casper Van Dien's newest movie or something. Yeah. And they're both just right there on the same level.
Yeah, and you don't know I guess Netflix and stuff has, their ratings that people give them, but I don't know, that's one of my you're right. There's something lost in that because my big complaint now, you get on Netflix, you get on Hulu, I'm like,
I spend too much time looking for something.
Oh my gosh, there's so much junk on there.
Yeah.
I don't want to watch Scissor Hand 3 or whatever. I don't know, just some crazy.
Or how often are you sitting there flipping through it, and you see a movie and you're like, oh, the poster looks good.
Yeah.
And it looks pretty modern and like along what I would want to watch. The description sounds great, and then you hit play on the trailer, and suddenly it's like a foreign language film.
Yeah. Oh,
and you're like, I don't speak this language, and I don't want to spend the entire time reading subtitles.
Yeah.
Can I filter these out, please?
Yeah.
Or what's worse is whenever they dub over them in English. I
Yeah.
can't stand that. I can't watch it.
Yeah. And there's something that I miss about, you've got HBO or later Cinemax, whatever, Showtime.
Yeah.
I remember Showtime. And Stars.
Stars.
Here we are. We're gonna name all these off. But you could go. I remember going through there and like looking at the TV guide in the newspaper.
Yep.
This is what's going to be on here. The Burbs is going to be on here, and you could record that on your VCR.
You got it forever.
And you've got it forever. Or until your dad tapes over it with
this
old house.
Yes. I don't know how many of those VHSs I found. Oh, Ghostbusters 2? Nope. New Yankee Workshop.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, exactly.
This is how I got here, apparently.
This is what we found going through some tapes at Dad's. So, yeah. But, I miss that, And even when I had, when DVRs were first starting,
Yeah.
I remember going through AMC, or not AMC, TCM, Turner Classic Movies.
Oh, yeah.
And I would look ahead on that guide by
For like
weeks.
2 weeks?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, oh, I have Network. I haven't seen that. I'm going to record that.
Yeah.
Here's Kramer versus Kramer. Haven't seen that. I've heard a lot about this. I'd find a lot of movies that I watched that I'm like, oh, I don't know why these were good. But I'd find movies that were, this is something I would have never seen if it wasn't on TV. But now, like Netflix, it's just, or Hulu or whatever it is.
You gotta hope it's at the top of your page.
Yeah, yeah. And even then, I don't know, you may not, what is this? Yeah, I don't know. But
Or I'm gonna add it to my list and I'll watch it later.
Yeah,
and then I'm just gonna scroll for the next half hour looking for something.
Because you never look at that list.
No,
I don't ever look at I've got a queue that I never look at.
Netflix list.
Yeah,
I have it. It's like probably like the third row down.
Yeah,
but it just goes on infinitely, and it puts everything at the back. So all the things that I'm looking at are things I added forever ago, and I'm like, I didn't watch it back then.
Yeah.
I'm probably not gonna watch it now. I mean, I want to watch it, so it's staying on my list, but that's not what I'm looking for
but
right
I'm
now.
not gonna look for it right. Yeah, yeah. I can't find anything to watch. Go to your list. I don't want to watch that.
I don't want to watch that stuff right now.
But you have it on your list to watch. I don't want to watch it. Then why is it on your list? Because I'll watch it someday.
I want to watch it someday. I just don't want to watch
but
it
not
right
today.
now.
Not today.
No, it's not what I'm in the mood for. What are you in the mood for? I don't know. I haven't found it yet.
It's not this. Yeah. But you know what is on Netflix?
Everything.
The Burbs.
The Burbs.
The Burbs is on Netflix.
Yes.
Yeah. So there it is, full circle. There's the Burbs.
That's the Burbs.
Yeah. So what are we doing next week?
All right. So for next week, what do you say we do? A classic video game.
I'm intrigued.
NES. All right. Super Mario Brothers 3.
Ah, yes.
Super Mario Brothers 3.
That sounds good to me.
All right. So we'll do some research.
Okay.
It's a good thing I got the Switch.
Yep.
Because that's going to be easy.
Isn't that phenomenal?
That's
You
awesome.
can yeah. Anywhere you're at.
I can play an old game.
Are you at the movies in the bathroom? You can play your Switch.
Yeah, that's right. Why do you have your Switch on you? I don't know.
I don't
but you
know.
can play
Why
it.
not? That's how they marketed it, though. It was like anywhere you go.
Yeah.
You remember those advertisements? Like there was always people. Anywhere they went, that like they're throwing the dog a frisbee.
It's got Switch in one hand.
Yeah.
I don't know how that would fit in your pants pocket.
I don't know.
I don't think it would. I'd have to have a backpack on just for that. But yes, next week we'll do Super Mario Brothers 3. Just the 3. We need a challenge. We always have a challenge with the games. Well, we've had one game. We've done a challenge for it, and I feel like that's something we should continue.
Okay. Well, do you have an idea?
I do not have an idea.
Okay.
I mean, I would say maybe time trial, how fast you can get through the first map, but I'm open to anything.
What about seeing... I can't remember. It's been a while since I've played it. Do they have... So you've got lives on there.
Yeah.
but I can't remember if it's like classic Super Mario Brothers. You die,
3
you
and you're
start
out.
the game all. Yeah, I don't remember if 3 was like that. It's been a while since I've played it, or if it just takes you back to the beginning of the world.
I think when you're out of lives on 3, you have continues. And I think whenever you continue, the map that you're on, the world you're in, restarts.
Okay. So let me pose this challenge. We see how far we can get without using the whistles.
Come on.
How far you can get without using the whistles before you have to hit a continue.
Okay. All right.
I mean, you feel free to keep playing after that, but let's just see how far you can.
Okay. Before you hit a continue. All right. I think I got.
Yeah. I mean, because
I'm gonna beat you.
You still got. Well, you probably will beat me.
I'm gonna beat you, but for reasons you do not see coming.
Okay. Okay.
I know something you don't know.
No warp whistles though.
No warp whistle.
No warp whistles.
No warp whistle.
And you can get as many. You can get your lives. You know, as many lives as you. Which I'm sure this is what you're thinking. Oh, I know where I can get like 999 lives or something like that. But we'll see. That's fine. I smoked you in The Legend of Zelda, so I'm not a sore loser.
I'm gonna
okay.
come to a certain point where I'm just gonna be like, I'm done. I can't play anymore. It's daylight now. I have to give up.
Yes.
And hang this thing up.
Okay. That's what we'll do then.
All right.
And if you're listening along and you're going through this journey with us,
Yeah.
give it a go.
Super Mario 3.
See if you can beat us.
How far can you get till you have to continue?
Yep.
All right. See you next week.
All right. See ya.